What if a single phone call could decide how much you'll receive from Social Security? And now, that call might not even go through. The Social Security Administration just made a major change that could leave millions of Americans confused, misinformed, or even without the benefits they deserve. At a time when every dollar counts, this shift is catching many by surprise, and the worst part, most people won't even realize what's happening until it's too late. Here's what you need to know now before your benefits are affected. If you're 50 or older and planning to rely on Social Security, hit that subscribe button right now. Things are changing fast, support is getting harder to access, and if you're not prepared, you could lose thousands in benefits. This channel gives you the information you need before it's too late. Subscribe now to protect what you've worked your whole life for. What exactly changed with Social Security phone services? The Social Security Administration has quietly rolled out a major shift in how millions of Americans can access its phone services, and it's catching people off guard. Until recently, many relied on direct calls to local Social Security offices to handle everything from scheduling appointments to asking questions about benefit eligibility. But now, many of those calls are being rerouted to national call centers or replaced with automated responses that offer little room for personalized help. Here's the core of the change. SSA is consolidating its phone-based customer service, pushing more people to either wait through long call center queues or navigate confusing online platforms. While this might seem like a minor logistical update, for millions of older adults, especially those uncomfortable with digital tools, it creates a massive barrier to access. Worse yet, the SSA has reduced the availability of live agents during certain hours and in some regions, which means callers are frequently left with limited options. The official reasoning? The agency cites staffing shortages, cost efficiency, and increased demand. But for someone trying to fix an error on their Social Security record or file for spousal benefits, this change isn't just inconvenient. It could be financially devastating. According to the SSA's own data, the average wait time for the national hotline jumped from 13 minutes in 2022 to over 36 minutes in 2024. And that's if you can even get through. Many callers report being dropped after waiting or receiving automated messages with no resolution. This isn't just a change in how the system works, it's a change in how accessible, how human it feels. And for those nearing retirement, that difference can be everything. Why this change matters more than you think. At first glance, a shift in how Social Security handles phone calls might seem like a minor inconvenience, something you can work around. But for Americans aged 50 and up, especially those approaching retirement, this change strikes at the heart of how they access critical financial information. It's not just about convenience, it's about control, accuracy, and security in the years when you can't afford mistakes. Nearly 70 million people rely on Social Security, and most of them will, at some point, need to speak with someone to clarify benefits, report changes in income, appeal decisions, or fix errors in their records. When these interactions become harder to access or are handled by undertrained, overworked national agents instead of local staff who understand regional nuances, the risk of misinformation skyrockets. Think of a 62-year-old trying to decide whether to file early for Social Security or wait until full retirement age. A small difference in how benefits are explained can mean tens of thousands of dollars lost over a lifetime. Or imagine someone widowed, trying to understand survivor benefits and getting routed through layers of recordings before reaching anyone who can help. This is more than a customer service issue. It's a systemic gap that puts your financial security at risk. According to a 2024 report by the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, more than 1 in 4 retirees make suboptimal Social Security claiming decisions, many due to lack of clear guidance. Warren Buffett has said that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. That's exactly what's at stake here. When clear, personal communication disappears, so does confidence, and costly mistakes follow. The hidden risk, missed payments, and delayed benefits. What most people don't realize is that even a short delay in accessing Social Security support can lead to real financial losses. We're not talking about abstract numbers. We're talking about your income, your bills, your ability to pay for food, medicine, and basic needs. And when a system this vital becomes harder to navigate, the consequences can be immediate and painful. Imagine this. You've reached retirement age and submitted your application for benefits. But due to a minor error, maybe a typo in your name or a missing form, your claim gets flagged. Under the old system, a quick phone call to your local office could often resolve the issue. Now, with the SSA consolidating phone services and reducing in-person options, resolving that same issue can take weeks or even months. According to the Office of the Inspector General's 2023 report, more than 37,000 initial benefit claims were delayed by more than 90 days. And the most common reason? Communication breakdowns and unresolved paperwork, often due to applicants not being able to get proper help over the phone. Worse still, if a mistake causes a delay in your first payment, the SSA won't always compensate for the missed months automatically. You may need to file appeals, submit forms again, and wait in long queues. If you even know the problem exists, this isn't just frustrating, it's dangerous. For retirees living on fixed incomes, a delay of just 1 month could mean skipping a mortgage payment or cutting back on prescriptions. And because the system has become less responsive, these delays are happening more often than ever. The longer you wait to act, the more vulnerable you become. And in retirement, there's no room for error, especially when every dollar matters. Real stories, when the system fails you. It's easy to think, that won't happen to me. But these changes to Social Security phone services are already creating real problems for real people. People who followed the rules, did everything right, and still paid the price. Their stories are not just cautionary tales, they are warnings of what can happen when access breaks down and the system stops working the way it should. Take Linda, a 63-year-old from Ohio. She retired early due to health issues and submitted her Social Security application online, only to realize she'd mistakenly selected the wrong filing date. She tried calling her local office to correct it, but found the number had been deactivated and rerouted to a national line. After waiting over an hour, she finally spoke to someone who promised a correction would be made. But it wasn't. Her payments were delayed by 3 months, and by the time the issue was resolved, she had drained nearly all her savings just to pay her bills. Or James, 67, a widower in Florida trying to claim survivor benefits. Confused by the rules, he called SSA for help, but after multiple dropped calls and hours on hold, he gave up and filed on his own. He later learned he'd missed out on a higher benefit amount he was fully entitled to, simply because no one clearly explained the best claiming strategy. These aren't isolated incidents. According to the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, millions of seniors encounter service barriers each year, and for many it leads to wrong decisions, lost benefits, and months of stress. The truth is, when the system becomes too complex or unreachable, it silently punishes those who need it most. And unless you prepare now, you could be next. What you can do, right now, to protect yourself. You can't control how the Social Security Administration manages its phone lines, but you can take steps today to protect yourself from falling into the same traps. In a world where delayed responses and miscommunication can cost you thousands, preparation is your greatest defense. Start by creating a retirement file, a folder with all your important documents in one place. Your Social Security statement, W-2s, 1099s, tax returns, marriage and divorce certificates, and any communication with the SSA. Having this ready will help you resolve issues faster if something goes wrong. Second, set up your My Social Security account online. Even if you don't like technology. It's one of the few ways to track your earnings, check for errors, and apply for benefits without relying entirely on phone support. According to the SSA, errors in earnings records are one of the leading causes of incorrect benefit calculations, and most people don't notice until it's too late. Also document every interaction with the SSA. If you call and speak to a representative, write down the date, time, the name of the person you spoke with, and a summary of what was discussed. This creates a paper trail you can rely on if there's a dispute or delay later on. Don't wait until the last minute to file for benefits. Begin your planning at least 6 to 9 months before your desired retirement date. This gives you time to correct errors, ask questions, and avoid the pressure of rushed decisions. And finally, get advice from a retirement specialist or financial advisor, especially one familiar with Social Security rules. As Warren Buffett often reminds us, it's better to be approximately right than precisely wrong. A wrong move with Social Security can cost you for the rest of your life. Why Warren Buffett would be paying attention to this? Warren Buffett may not rely on Social Security to fund his retirement, but the principles he lives by apply to everyone, especially now. One of his most famous quotes is, "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing." And that's exactly the risk this change in Social Security services is creating. Millions of Americans navigating a complex system with less guidance and more confusion. Buffett has always emphasized the value of being informed, thinking long-term, and avoiding preventable mistakes. If he were advising someone approaching retirement today, he'd likely highlight how critical it is to understand the rules of the game, because the rules are changing quietly and not in your favor. He's also known for favoring simplicity over complication. Yet, with SSA's phone support now harder to access, many retirees face the exact opposite. A system that feels more confusing, more bureaucratic, and far less responsive than it used to be. This complexity breeds errors that could reduce your monthly benefits, delay your payments, or lead you to make permanent decisions based on incomplete or incorrect information. Buffett doesn't take unnecessary risks. And if Social Security is going to be a key part of your retirement income, neither should you. He would advise you to take control of what you can, understand your benefit options, plan your filing strategy, and avoid relying on vague phone promises or rushed decisions. Most importantly, Buffett would remind you that small mistakes, when compounded over time, lead to big losses. A $150 miscalculation per month might seem minor, but over 20 years of retirement, that's $36,000 gone. In Buffett's world, every decision is an investment, and right now, investing time in understanding Social Security is one of the smartest moves you can make. The bigger picture, what this tells us about the future of retirement. The Social Security phone service changes are just one piece of a much larger shift, a signal of what's to come for retirement in America. And it's not just about longer wait times or dropped calls, it's about a system under pressure, with growing demand, shrinking resources, and a future filled with uncertainty. The Social Security Administration is already strained by rising claim volumes as more baby boomers retire, while at the same time facing staffing shortages and budget constraints. According to the Congressional Budget Office, by 2033, the Social Security Trust Fund will be unable to pay full benefits unless reforms are made. That means future cuts are not only possible, they're likely. The recent changes in phone support reflect this mounting stress. They're trying to do more with less. But in that process, the burden shifts to you. You're expected to navigate the system, understand the rules, make the right decisions, and do it all with limited support. This is not a small challenge. It's a wake-up call. What this tells us is clear. You can no longer rely solely on Social Security to carry you through retirement. It must be one part of a larger, carefully built plan. This includes saving, smart investments, understanding tax strategies, and planning for healthcare costs that Social Security won't cover. Warren Buffett often says, "Only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked." When the system is stressed, only those who have prepared will stay afloat. If this change in phone services caught you by surprise, imagine what else could happen in the next 10 years. The rules of retirement are shifting. Those who adapt will protect their future. Those who don't may pay for it with their freedom and peace of mind. The people who stay informed will make smarter decisions and keep more of their money. The ones who don't, they'll find out the hard way. Don't be left behind. Subscribe now and make sure you're always one step ahead when the rules change again, because they will.